Alright, so today I'm hopefully going to be covering the process of fixing bricked IDRAC on Dell PowerEdge R420. So this is, apparently there was some sort of change in one of the firmware updates that changes how the files are laid out that makes it super easy to brick firmware on this gen of Dell servers. And so basically when it's booted up, the fans spin full speed, the IDRAC LCD won't be on, and it just won't initialize IDRAC. So there's a couple posts, one original one for an R720 that was bricked like this, and then one for an R520 that was also bricked like this. So on the R720, there's a JTAG port that is for, and it's labeled IDRAC. However, on the R520 there is not one, and it appears that on the R420 there isn't one either. But if I go ahead and pull out this network card, oh come on, there we go. So similar to the R520, if I can get this on here. Sure, so this port here is what we're wanting. There we go, BMC UART. So BMC UART is the port that we're looking for. So apparently pin 1 is 3.3 volts, then it's RX and TX and ground. And so supposedly hooking in through this port and connecting via serial, you can send some commands to load firmware off of the SD card on the Enterprise IDRAC card port. So you'll need the Enterprise add-on card. They're not expensive. I'll mention, if your IDRAC is bricked, then getting a new one of these cards won't help you. This just adds the management interface. So I'm gonna solder onto those. I have a USB UART adapter somewhere, but I also have the standard, like regular, no extra pin serial ones for Arduino, so I'll see if one of those works, since I don't know where the UART adapter is. But yeah, we're going to see if we can load some files off the SD card. There's one post where someone supposedly put the SD card in with the firmware file in there, and left it for 20 minutes, did a reboot, and it seemed to pull the firmware, and that worked. I tried that, it didn't work. So you still have to extract the firmware from an exe file. We'll probably cover that too. But we're going to go ahead and solder onto the motherboard. See if we can actually get that port, or see if we can actually get a serial connection, and then see if we can tell the IDRAC to load up the firmware from the SD card. And then hopefully I did a BIOS update and everything on this, so then I should hopefully have a fully up-to-date R420. These things aren't worth a whole lot with the processors I have. It's an E5 2407 V2. I have two of those, 32 gigs of RAM, pretty low spec machine. I got it for free, so I don't really want to buy a motherboard for it or anything, but it's worth taking a crack at trying to fix. And I mean, you could always like swap out all the fans with Noctuous, but that's more expensive than a motherboard, I guarantee. But yeah, I don't even have a specific use case in mind for this thing because it is so low spec. I mean, maybe I can get some better processors. I don't know how much better they're going to be than the X5570s though. And I would still need my older servers running. So, I mean, I've got this 4-port card. It could maybe be like a pfSense box, a super overpowered one. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so right now I'm just going to verify that UART port even has anything there, and make sure that I have the pin order right. I assume that square would be pin 1. So let's go ahead and double check. So it looks like there's at least voltage on that port. So now it's time to solder onto the motherboard with it turned off and unplugged, obviously. And then we'll start poking around with some serial adapters. Okay, so I haven't used this adapter before, and I'm hoping I don't need to hook up 3.3 volt, because, well, this one doesn't have 3.3 volt, it looks like. Ground, I can't recall which is TX and RX, and I don't know what the baud rate is on this, but we'll go ahead and see, I guess. Serial port, and 9600, probably okay. Let's see if we get anything out of this when we give it some power. I think I have the serial pins swapped, so. Alright, let's see. Oh, ha-ha! We got serial. Oh. Look at that. Okay, so it is the right port. Awesome. Okay. So I already have the firmware on an SD card. So we're going to put that in. So that just pops in down here. Alright. Let's see what I need to pop in here again. So we'll have links to the Reddit posts in the description. I will say it's spitting out a whole lot of like kernel I/O errors. I don't know if that's normal. Bunch of I/O single block read things. It thinks it's December 31st. So I'm not getting what he had gotten before, that's for sure. So I gotta figure out how to make it stop doing this. Right? I might have to wait for it to finish trying to initialize the IDRAC, so it's going to be at this volume for a while. Okay, so you don't actually need to have the server running for IDRAC to initialize and put out serial information. Unfortunately, I mean, maybe I'll leave it powered up for like 20 minutes or something, and see if it gets anywhere. But it seems like it gets to a point where there's just a recurring error. And I'll post a log of this too. But it looks like it's basically trying to read the IDRAC configuration or something. And it doesn't get... Yeah, it just doesn't get a response. Card sh_mmcif. It's apparently just unable to do that, and I just will continue looping like that. Aside from that, like, it can see when I have an SD card in there or not, and it actually gets that information. But yeah, it looks like it just gets to a point where it infinitely loops. Yeah, just a read-write command error. So I need to potentially figure that out, but I really don't know if I can. So the other people who were able to hook into this, like, just got an IDRAC prompt. But I'm not even getting a chance to... I'm not even seeing in the log, like, a way to hit enter or anything to interrupt this. Maybe I'll just try mashing enter. But it looks like I'm kind of at a standstill, so I'll maybe look to see if there is, like, a separate IDRAC port that I missed. Maybe I'll start pulling stuff apart or pull the motherboard out. But I might be out of luck here. If that's the case, then I don't know. I'll post somewhere with the logs. Maybe someone has a bright idea, but it kind of is not looking too hopeful now, unfortunately. So, it seems I'm seeing posts for, again, like an R720, but I had noticed this switch port, or this sort of switch header on the motherboard there, SW2, and I hadn't poked around at that yet, but someone mentioned that they were poking around that on the R720, I think it was, and SW, like, number 1, interrupted the boot process, or rebooted IDRAC, like that boot process in serial, and that is what 1 is doing. But number 2 is not interrupting the boot from what I can tell, but maybe I need to hold it longer. So I'm going to solder a jumper, I think. I don't think I have any switches to put in there. I'll have a look. But apparently maybe only the first 3 or 4 are connected, so I might have one somewhere, one of those little board level things. But that might be a way to interrupt that U-boot process and then reprogram the eMMC. Although it doesn't look like they're making, like those guys made any progress really. But as you can see, I started half taking it apart, but it seems like there's not really much point getting to the other side of the motherboard. Okay, shit, I wish I had been filming. Look at that shit, IDRAC 7. Okay, oh shit, I'm excited. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to fix this or not. But, okay, boom. IDRAC 7. So what you need to do, I was just using my multimeter on amps mode. You bridge switch position 2 on that little switch header. You hold that, and then, I'll put the video up here, the serial port then gives you a prompt instead to press any key to stop auto boot. So you have to hold down, you have to keep switch 2 bridged, and then press a key on the serial port. And you can interrupt the auto boot process, and then you get an IDRAC 7 prompt. Shit, so the instructions to do the image. Okay, wait, yeah, so I put I saw the auto boot thing, and I missed it, and I stopped, and I put the SD card in with the enterprise card. So, hang on, let's go ahead and start screen record. Okay, I'm going to stop recording with this and grab my headset. Alright, so I'm actually going to use my phone to record audio, that way it's the same quality. And I'm just in the serial port now with the server in front of me for kind of awkward typing. So let's see. Print board info. There's boot info, memory compare, memory copy. Erase flash memory. Information about the file system. I want like the version, if I can find it. Maybe I should just try and just load it. I don't know. Memory display, compute MP5 message. See, it's weird that this is... Oh, this guy's on an R520, not an R420. So maybe that's why he has IDRAC 8. So the firmware image is the same, so let's... Maybe we just go for it. Is there like a util? There is util. Fuck it, let's try it. Okay, yeah, look, and it's util recover transport SD, target MMC eMMC firmware file. Oh, sorry, no, right, so that's right. Failure writing blocks. So one thing is that I couldn't see the right in the logs. There's a capacity. There we go. MMC version high capacity 0. "17 seconds. eMMC write failed." Okay, so let's just get this back up there. Hang on. So maybe there is a problem with the eMMC chip. Erase -eMMC. No. Cover -eMMC. Oh wait, util. Oh wait, okay, util flash. Util flash. Erase eMMC. Invalid user entered the address. What? Oh wait. Util flash eMMC erase. So is there like a... I don't think there's a login option. Well, let's see eMMC info. See, capacity is 0. So is there a way I can set the capacity? So I've made progress, but I don't think I can do anything with that MMC capacity being 0. Okay. Enable or disable flash protection. Protect. Hang on. Okay, wait. Maybe I need to disable write protection on it. Protect off eMMC. I have no clue if that's going to work. That might just be for the flash memory, not the eMMC maybe. Yeah, so clear the SPI, LCL, whatever that is. That sounds like it's gonna work. Erase util flash Failure writing block. So I think that eMMC error of 0 size is the problem. Okay, I'm gonna have a look on the forum and see if there's anything else. But stopping recording. I think at this point I need to edit this video together and sort of post what I've found or something. Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point I just need to figure out why that eMMC size is 0, and I think I fixed it. I figured out how to interrupt the boot process, so that's good. So that might be the end of this for now. Okay, so this is something that people are still actively working on. So people are able to basically, because it's basically running Linux. It's a small computer. That's what IDRAC is. It's a small computer running Linux, and I should have read further in the forum post, because then people had already mentioned that it is IDRAC 7. You press and hold the thing, and it gives you a prompt to do the press any key. I just didn't read the next couple pages, so I would have been less excited if I had read the further pages knowing how to do it. But anyways, whatever. I figured that out without reading it. So people managed to basically load the firmware image on temporarily, so not in the eMMC memory thing. People have managed to load the firmware image on with an FTP server, and then as long as you don't power off the server completely, as long as it doesn't lose power, then it will continue to boot and work and everything normally. But if you lose power, then it's not going to work. And so someone else had ordered an eMMC chip. The thread turned into all Russian stuff, but it doesn't look like they said they were getting their chip in and they were going to try and solder it, but I didn't see anything from that. So I'm going to also try and find one of these chips. Hopefully it doesn't come from China, because it's going to take a long time to get here. But I'm going to try and replace this eMMC chip. I don't know if it's going to be programmed specially or anything. Or if it is just a memory chip. I'll probably look at the data sheet if I can find one, if it's not a proprietary part number. But yeah, I'm going to order one of those chips and try desoldering it myself. I don't know if the Russian guys did that or not. I couldn't really tell, but yeah, so I'm actually actively exploring this at the same time as other people. So they got me a bit ahead of time, and I didn't read through properly, which is why I was super excited about getting that prompt. But I mean, still, I thought I was totally screwed, but I'm still getting that prompt. So this is going to be the end of this video. It's probably kind of long, kind of boring, but this is some real fucking, like, Dell does a shit job, and now we have to fucking hack our way around it. So this is really fun. So this ended up being a really enjoyable project. I really hope if I replace that chip, it'll work. Yeah, I mean, the eMMC thing, if it's just a memory chip, if it's just storage, then maybe the theory is that, flash memory has a limited amount of write cycles, and maybe Dell, their firmware update process just writes loads of crap to that and just burns it out as it's upgrading. There are 2 images, I think, flashed to it, so there's like a backup version or something, so maybe that contributes to it. So I'm going to try and find one of those chips, order it, and then, yeah, hopefully I can actually figure out how to, or at least confirm if that is how it will work. Quick note while editing, basically done the video, but if failing all else, if I can't fix the eMMC chip, and what I would do right now if I was really stressed to get this up and running quickly, but I've ordered a couple chips from China, and I'll see if there's anywhere locally I can get them faster, but it's probably going to be like a month at least for stuff to come in. Maybe, hopefully a bit faster, I don't know, but it's probably going to be like a month till I get the chips in. So the solution that would work otherwise, though, is you take an Arduino, because it's UART serial. So you wire up the serial port to these pins, and then basically set it up so that when the server powers on, you could have it bridge the 2 pins on the switch contact. So you have it bridge the second switch. You basically time for a known number of seconds, how long until you get that prompt to press any key. Then you could release those that switch position 2. Then you could just have it press an enter key virtually, and then you could have it put in a command to set the fan speed, and that takes care of the fan speed. And the Arduino would just run that every time you power the server up. So the problem is the boot time would still be really long. The boot time on the server is like super slow because it tries to boot IDRAC a bunch of times, which is definitely not ideal, especially if it was like your router. But you could wire an Arduino in there and deadbug it into place and set it so that the Arduino basically jumpers that switch, then hits the key, puts in a command to lower the fan speed, and then, every time the server turns on, it just does that. So that's a potential option. I don't know, actually thinking about it, if it reboots again and tries to start IDRAC, I don't know if it would have to do that every single time, but yeah, we'll see.